Hi, welcome to Chapter 9. Chapter 9, we're going to get into creating a navigation bar. Talk about some of this. Now, some of this will be review from CIS222, but we'll introduce a few new things that we're going to basically look at. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the nav bar HTML. I'm sorry, wrong one. Actually, the links.html. Let me scroll back up here. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually, you can see that we are linking to the main.css, but we're not actually going to update the CSS file. What we're going to do is we're going to use the internal style sheet, we're in between the two style tags within our, and again, that's right before we close out our head tag is where we usually put in our style tags with our CSS code inside of there. Bad thing about these styles is this style, these CSS styles are only going to be applied to this page. So if they're needed by multiple pages, that's where we would then put them into the main.css. That way there we are sharing the code amongst all of the different pages. So anything that we put inside of these, between these style tags, will only apply to this web page. So, very first thing I want us to do is to add a color. Well, before we do that, let me open up. Let me open up this particular site to kind of see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like right now. We can see that we've got some kind of a navigation over here. We've got some different things going on here. We've got a mail to down here. And it looks like 1, 2, 3 different links inside of there. Okay, so we're going to modify this so that it looks a little different. So the very first thing we want to do is let's change the any A link to a different color. So I'm going to highlight this and then paste it inside of the style tag of the internal style sheet, and I'm going to do a save. And when I come back out here and we look at this, if I do a refresh, we can see that all of the different links change to a different color. Even when I hover over them, or even if I click on them and then come back, they still stay the same color. So as of right now, we don't know if we visited a site or not. Okay, so the next thing it wants us to do, we're going to add this text decoration none to that we just added, and again this should remove any of those bullets. So since this is an unordered list, it will remove all of the bullets. So come back over here, refresh, and they're still there. Okay. Well, sorry. The text decoration none, I'm sorry, I didn't remove the bullets. We'll talk about that in a sec. It removed all of the underlining. Okay, so it removed all the underlining to all of our links. So we know the only way we can tell the links now is by color. Okay, so is that good or bad? It's good in the sense that we get rid of the underlining, but it's bad in the sense that we don't know really what truly is linkable, because all we have to rely is by color. Because let's say we made the text a different color, that could mean something completely different. So what we are going to do now is we are going to add font weight bold and a border bottom of 2 pixels solid. So let's copy that, and we will paste it in here. So we got a font weight bold. So we're saying all of our A links are going to have a font weight of bold. It's going to have a border bottom of 2 pixels solid, and whatever color that is. Okay, so when I do a refresh, Sure enough, there it is. So now all the text is bolded. It's got that orange underline. So now we know that, and again, it's not an underline, it's actually a border bottom. So we've actually put a border bottom on all of our text, all of our linkable text. So now we know what is linkable or not. Okay. Now let's change our A visited so that when we do visit a particular link, let's let the user know that they have visited that link before, which means we have that link in cache. So if we need to get back to it very, very quickly, it will basically, that page will open up very, very quickly. So I come down here and I'm going to add that guy. So now I've got my A visited. It's going to have whatever color that is. So I come back to here, I do a refresh, and you can see I've been to this site. So it's kind of now of a lighter blue, almost a gray color. So let me click on this guy, and when I come back, same thing. It's not quite as bright. You can see a difference between these two links. There's a really bright blue, and there's kind of a I call it almost like a washed out blue. Okay, it distinguishes between them, but not very well. So let's go ahead and add a couple of other items. So is that to the visited? A hover. Oh, this is the hover tag. Okay, sure, my bad. So we're going to add one more item, which is now the hover. When I bring my pointer over the top of anything, it's going to change it to a color. It's going to have a different background color, and it's going to have a border bottom color different as well. So save that, and when I go to it, do a refresh, we really don't see anything different until I point my mouse over the top of it. Now there's my border bottom color has changed, and so is the background color, and the font color has changed as well. So we can see that distinctively on all of our different items. Okay. So now this is kind of one of these weird ones. This is kind of an introduction to a brand new piece. And so let me add this and let's talk about it. So I'm saying, so this is going to be any A tag, an href $equal mail to. What does that mean? Really what we're looking at is this $equal. Now I have included some links on the week 3, or I should say one link, and it's called attribute selectors. And if we click that, it takes us out to the WSS schools, and it says these are the substring matching attribute selectors. If you have an $equal sign, that says it's going to basically look for that particular text in the beginning of whatever that particular item is. In this case, it's an href tag. So it's only going to apply this style to anything that starts with, in this case, VAL for any ATT tag. If it's a $, that means it's going to look at the end of that string of text and it's going to look for val. If it's got an asterisk, that means it can appear anywhere within that string. Okay, so kind of going back to our code, we have this caret symbol says for any A tag that has an href attribute in there, it's going to look for any href attribute that has mail to in the beginning of that tag, and it will only apply this style to it. It will have that color, it will have that border of none, and the background will have an image of an email GIF, no repeat, left center. That means it will basically be on all the way to the left and in the center from top to bottom. So save it, come back over here, and I do a refresh, and you'll notice that none of our other items changed except for this bottom one. If you point to it down the lower left corner, it says mail to dot something. Now that changed. Now it's hard to see there. There's a little email graphic in there, but our text is kind of floating over the top of it. So you'll notice it no longer has the underline, or should say border bottom, the color, the hover over. None of that is basically taking over now because it has its own attribute because it starts with mail to. So let's go ahead and add this padding left. And let's see what happens. Again, padding is on the inside of something, margins on the outside. So padding is the margins on the inside of something. So now when I do a refresh, it pushed that text over, so it padded the text away from the graphic. And now let's go ahead and it wants us to add this margin left, which again is on the outside of 10 pixels. And that should push everything over a little bit. And sure enough, we now have a nice space between the copyright and that email symbol. Okay, so what's nice is if I have any other emails in here, it will take on these attributes. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add a dot resources. This is a class, so to use this we have to use the class equals resources. And let me add that to the bottom and save it. Now if I come down here, you'll notice that we have a div class equal resources, and here's our ending div tag. So it's going to apply to this H3 header and all of these links. And so it basically says border bottom none. Okay, so any A links, so any anchor tags inside of the resources will have no border bottom. Okay, so if I come over here and look at that, so right now it's got this orange underline. When I refresh, orange underline disappears. Okay, our hover over still works, but none of the borders at the bottom will be there. Let's go ahead and add this guy, and let's talk about it. And now we're saying anything inside of our resources class that has an A anchor tag that has the phrase href, anything that starts with the colon left, okay, after the, or I should say, since it's an asterisk, that says if colon // appears anywhere inside of there, make the background image equal to a globe.png. Okay, so save it. Now if I look, this guy is a PDF, that guy is a doc, that guy is a zip file, there is a so that has a link, and that has a link. If I do a refresh, sure enough, that globe now basically appears on that guy, but you'll notice the globe appears inside, so the text appears on top of it. So it looks like we're going to probably deal with that next. So we're going to go ahead and say padding right. So we got padding right 22 pixels. Again, that's inside of that href tag. So pad to the right. So push that picture off to the right a little bit. And sure enough, that's exactly what it did. So put that little globe picture off to the right. Okay. So again, what's really neat is anything inside of this resources. It doesn't matter if I add any more hyperlinks to this list down the road, it will go ahead, anything that has an http:// it will automatically put this little globe picture on there. The other guys will not, because they are not links, they're pointing to internal documents. So Now it wants us to add these three guys. Let's go ahead and add them and talk about them. So they're basically the same thing. It says, so $ equal, it means this needs to appear at the end of the string of text. In this case, it's got .pdf. So anything that has a .pdf at the end is going to have this Acrobat image. Anything that has a .zip will have a zip PNG. Anything that has a .doc will have a this Word document next to it. So what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and move this padding right from this guy, and let's go ahead and put it up here with the resources.a, and let's see if that will go ahead and give us what we need for our padding. Sure enough, it did. So that padding now applies to all of these guys. So there's that little GIF image for a PDF, there's a document, and there is a zip file. So what's kind of nice is we're letting our folks know before they actually click on it what they're dealing with, and we're showing that graphically. And again, it doesn't matter down the road if I add another link to another PDF, it will automatically use that PDF symbol, or a document, or a zip, or a link. If we want to go ahead and do our resources.hover, I don't want to have the same hover capabilities as the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and add this up here. Yeah, I'm at the bottom. So right now it has the white text showing up, which that doesn't show up well. Over here it does, because we had a background color differently. We took the background color away, so now let's refresh, and now we have a different hover over just for the resources class. So anything inside of that resources div tag is going to have that hover over. You notice this has a different, because it's not inside of the same class. Okay, so that was it for that particular item. So let's go ahead and go over here to this nav bar. And so here's the nav bar. And if I were to open up that nav bar, it basically looks like this. Okay, so we eventually want to get to where we have no dots, no bullet points, no underlines, and we want this to appear as boxes across the screen, basically horizontal. Right now they're vertical. So very first thing I'm going to do is going to add this UL class main nav. So I come over here and I'm going to change this UL tag to UL class.mainNav. I save it, and sure enough, if I look, it probably didn't change anything. Nothing at all, because we don't have that class in there yet. So now I'm going to come down here, I'm going to add a mainNav class. I do a save, and now when I come over here, and it looks like we changed the margin to 0, padding to 0, list style none. We take a look, and it basically got rid of the bullets. Okay, 0 margins. So now let's add, we're going to transform everything to uppercase, and we want text decoration none, meaning get rid of the underlines. So let's go ahead and grab that entire thing and replace it. Oh, no, we're going to add it. Sorry, my bad. So now we're going to say anything that's inside of the main nav class that is an anchor tag, we're going to change the color to 000. We're going to make the font size 11 pixels. We're going to transform all of the text to uppercase, and we're going to have the text decoration none, no underlines. So I save it. I then look at it, and boom, there it is. There's still links. Everything's uppercase. Underlines are disappeared. Then we're going to add a border and padding to that main nav A style. And I save it. And when I view it, sure enough, now, kind of wild is you'll see we got boxes kind of overlaying each other. The reason being is we just padded on the inside. We need to add a margin on the outside. So let's see what else we can do. We are going to add a width to the main nav. That does nothing right now. We still need some other features. So let's go ahead and add a background color to our main nav, a background image, which is basically a nav, a background repeat none, a background position of 0 and 2 pixels. So 0 from the left hand side and basically 2 pixels down. So let's go ahead and add that. This is our main nav A. I save it. We take a look. And now, look at that. Now we have a background image. So there's that arrow, home, features, boom, boom, boom. So now everything's the same width. So that width now comes into play. We've got a border. Okay. We're now going to add a border bottom of none and padding of 7, 5, 7, 30. So top, right, bottom, left. Top 7 pixels, right is 5, 7, and 30. So I add those two. Get rid of that other padding. We don't need that anymore. So I save it. So now let's take a look. And now it pushes the text over, so now we can see those arrows pointing down. So now we're getting closer to a good looking nav bar here. It's still vertical. We need to make it horizontal at some point. Okay, so now if we go back though and look, you'll notice that since I removed the bottom border, look what it did to the last one. The bottom one has no border. So how can I add a border just to one box? Very easy. I basically add this. We add it. Let's talk about it. Okay, so it says .main nav li. This is going to apply to a list tag inside of the main nav, but which one? The last of a type A. So any anchor tag that's in a list, the very last one will have this style, which is what? Border bottom 1 pixel dashed 999. Save it. Come out here and refresh, and voila, I now have a dotted line on that bottom box. Okay, so it only apply to the very last one, last of its type. So now I'd like to have a nice hover over. So if I come over here and copy this hover text, so within the main nav, this only applies to the main nav class. Any anchor tag, when you hover over it, it's going to have a font weight of bold, it's going to have a background color of that, it's going to have a background position of 3 pixels and 50%. So I save it, refresh, and now when I hover over, We now have an arrow as opposed to an arrow pointing down. Makes it bold and the background is green. Okay, now if you're wondering where does that other arrow appear from, here's how it works. This is the nav.png tag. It has a gray background and this arrow that comes down. This middle section is the green background with the arrow we're looking at, and there's a paper clip. What the heck is going on there? Well, if we look over here, it says the background position. Okay, that means move it down 3 pixels and then basically move 50%. I'm sorry, come over 3 pixels and basically come down 50%. Remember up here, background position was 0 and 2 pixels. That's grabbing that top. This one is now grabbing the middle section. So it's really kind of it's kind of a tight game to play, because at any point if you make your nav bar wider or shorter, it's going to affect that picture. But it's kind of a cool way to utilize it, because we have one picture to deal with. We're just shifting that picture up and down depending on what we're doing at the time. Okay, so that's basically how that works. So when I hover over, it shifts that picture up to the middle. At some point we're probably going to use the bottom part. So let's see how we can utilize that. So now in our main nav ad, we're going to basically change this border bottom to none and padding to that. Or did we already do that? Maybe we already did that. I think I did. Yep. I'm sorry. My bad. We've already done that one. Okay. We are, oh, sorry, we're here. Yeah, so that's what it's talking about right here. That's basically what it's doing. Okay. So when we're just utilizing this guy, it's using this top feature. When we hover over it, it slides that picture up, and now we're going to use this last feature. So to do that, we are going to basically use a class called home. So we're going to change this body tag to now utilize a class. It says class equals home. So if I save it, it shouldn't do anything because we don't have a class in there yet. Yeah, so we don't have anything in there yet. So now in the nav bar's HTML code, locate the home link and add class.home. So I'm going to add this class home link to our href tag right here. So now that it has a class equals home link. Again, if I save it and refresh the page, it shouldn't do anything because we don't have a class in there yet. So now we're going to create the code for that class. So now, so here it is. I'm saying anything that anything inside of the home class or home link class, make the background color of that, make the background position 97%. Now we're sliding down to the 97 percentile of that 3 pictures and basically fill it up 100%. Padding right, 15%. Now we're sliding that thing over to the end. We're going to padding left and then a font weight of bold. So I save it. I come back over here and refresh. Now look at home has a background color of white. And again, that paperclip had a background color of white as well. And when I hover over it, it basically shifts back to the other hover over. But we can basically distinguish a home button by using the home class there. So now let's do this. We are going to add these items come on. Okay, so now I'm saying if it's a .home or home link or feature link, or expert link, quiz link, so on and so forth. Any one of those tags, let's apply. I should say, if it's a home link inside of the home is basically what that means. Or if it's a feature link inside of a feature, do that as well. So when I save it and come back over here and do a refresh, we'll see that nothing's changed. And the reason being is because I still have a home class right here. If I change that to feature, and save it, we'll see that nothing happens. Why? It's inside of there. We're missing our tag for these guys down here. So let me do this. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to place it inside of each one of these guys. Okay, so now each one of those has a class for that link. And it says, so what this says is, if you have a home link class inside of the home class, apply this style. If you have that inside of that inside of that. Okay, so I've added the class to each one of the links, but notice up here it now says feature. I save it. I come back over here and do a refresh, and now feature is my home tag. Okay. I could do the same thing with quiz. I can change this to quiz. Save it. Refresh, and now quiz is our home tag. Okay. Now let's change this to vertical. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the width. Okay. So make sure you complete all the steps above we have. So we are now going to come over here. We're going to remove the width of our nav. And I save it. And again, what's going to happen to our text is basically now it fills up the entire screen. Okay, so now let's do this. This is now wants us to add a link tag to within our main nav class. So now we're saying any link tag inside of the main nav class, we're going to float left and make the width 12 ems. So every one will have the same exact width, and we want them to float left. And we saw, remember from last week, when we float left, it floats the next one, floats the next one. So you should see a vertical nav bar at this point. And when I come over here and refresh, boom, sure enough, there they are. Okay, I'm going to change that back to home. So there's our home tag. Now we'll notice we lost our bottom border except for the last one. Why? Because the last one we added the border to, last of type. So we need to basically add that back. So we're going to change the bottom border to none to border right of none. So our main nav A, Border bottom none, we're going to change that to border right none, and then our last of, we need to change that to border right. Now the reason we're doing this is because if we had borders on all four sides, we would see two dotted lines side by side, or in the first case, two dotted lines on top of each other. So that's why we removed it from the bottom of each so that only one dotted line appeared, and then we added it to just the bottom. So now save it, and I come back out here and do a refresh. Whoop, wrong page. Refresh, and sure enough, now they all have dotted lines around them. Change this within a horoscope link to 3 pixels. Okay, so oh, so I see what they're doing. So let's get rid of that, save it, and refresh it, and it basically places the picture on the left hand side. So now everything is on the left hand side, even the paper clip. Okay, so that's it for chapter 9. Again, a lot of it was review. A lot of things we should already know about. We've added a few new things to the neat little features, especially being able to have special graphics for certain types of things, whether they are a PDF or a Word doc or whatever the case may be. But so again, if you have any questions, make sure you give me a call.